This podcast is brought to you by ONNIT. Go to ONNIT.com and look at the great selection of supplements. If you find something you like, press in code Joey and get 10% off delivered right to your house. What's happening, you motherfucking savages? It's Monday, the 24th of April. The joint is brought to you by BetterHelp. Listen, sometimes you don't even want to get out of bed. I know. Much less drag yourself out all the way to the therapist's office. BetterHelp's online therapy can further your journey to self-discovery from wherever you are. If you could do therapy from the comfort of your own home or while literally sitting in bed. Listen, I just realized recently this pandemic really messed up a lot of people. Not just me, not just you. So do yourself a favor. If you're feeling a little low still, go get help with BetterHelp. Dana helped me in ways that I can't thank ever. I wasn't even a therapy guy, so that's how good BetterHelp is. It's convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. No having to drive to a sterile office or sit awkwardly in a waiting room before your session. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist and get on your way to a better life. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Diaz, D-I-A-Z, to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/Diaz. The joint is also brought to you by Let's Talk About Sex, Baby. Blue Chew. When you're younger, it seems like you're always ready on the go. But when you get old like me, though, it's more difficult to keep the soldier up at full attention. Enter comes Blue Chew, the online service that delivers chewable erectile dysfunction medicine right to the privacy of your door. With the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost. You'll be ready to go whenever the opportunity arises. And remember, insurance ain't covering Viagra no more. It's $100 a pill. Fuck them! That's why Blue Chew is here. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll be slinging dick within days with your prescription. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA, and shipped in a discreet package so even your mailman won't steal them. That's how good Blue Chew works. The mailman tries to clip those things. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex and sling dick like a 10-foot giant. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we got a special deal for our listeners. You ready? I'm going to hook you up with Blue Chew for free for 1 month with a promo code. You ready for this? Write it down. Joey at checkout. Just pay a fin for shipping, and that's BlueChew.com. Promo code Joey to receive your first month for free. Enough with the sponsor. Let's get this party started. The joint is in full effect, cocksuckers.
Hey, how you doing? Come on in. Yeah, Joey's in the back.
Check 1, 2. Welcome to Uncle Joey's Joint.
What up, you bad motherfuckers? It's a beautiful Monday, the 24th of fucking April. Tremendous. One more week, and the book comes out. That's it. Monday, Tuesday, May 2nd, the book comes out. This week is the last week of the fucking month, so we got to end the month strong. April showers bring May flowers, so get ready to sling some fucking dick. It was a very interesting month. I tell you, I did more this month. I roughed it more this month than I have in the last 3 years, and I'm happy I did, guys. You know, sometimes your life gets too easy, and you say to yourself, fuck, I need something to throw me off, but if I roughed it I haven't roughed it like this in 3 fucking years, so this is the best month I've had in 3 fucking years. I shot Law and Order. I couldn't sleep in the hotel. I thought I was going to fucking die. I fucking walked to the set. Everything worked out. And then the trip to Austin was just... Listen, guys, I didn't want to get on a fucking plane. And I know I've been saying this for the last fucking 2 years. But it was time. It was time to get out of... You got to get out of your comfort zone from time to time in life. It can't be all fucking, waking up and the sun's out. You got to do something different, even if you don't want to do it. Sometimes you have to force yourself to do shit, even when you don't want to fucking do it. And I didn't want to go to... I tell you, all week I was like... Ugh. But I really wanted to go down there. I really, really wanted to go see what Joe had done. It wasn't about the podcast. It wasn't about smoking weed. It wasn't about any of that shit. I had to promote the book. The book company was breaking my balls about going down there. And, he opened the club and he worked so hard. And I just wanted to go down there and see what he did. And I tell you what, I'm happy I fucking did, man. For starters, like I was telling you guys about a month ago, you can't open up YouTube without fucking hate videos. Every day it's Brendan, this guy hates this guy, this podcast hates this podcast. There's so much hate to be fucking going around. So I don't know what's going on half the time. But I do see a lot of, from time to time, I see Rogan hate mail, And I go, if they only really knew. If they only really knew. Thank God Joe doesn't say a lot of his personal shit. Unlike me, I'm a fucking idiot. Joe keeps a lot to himself, a lot of aces close to his heart. Or whatever the fuck the expression is, right? And it was just good to see what he did. He made what I called it after a 3-day assessment in my mind, because I'm the type of guy, listen, I'm not going to be able to give you a fair assessment about anything. It's like listening to an album for the first time. It sounds good, but let me listen to it a few times. With me, I need to see it and then process it. And after 3 days, I'll tell you what I'm going to process for you guys. And this isn't really, listen, when I'm talking, I'm sorry about this. This is for the consumer as much as other comics. But it's the Comedy Store on steroids. That's all I could say. Aerosmith is Aerosmith. Guns N' Roses is Aerosmith on steroids. If you really think about it, it's just one level of more explosiveness. This is what this Comedy Store is. This comedy mothership is. It's for the comic. Guys, and you're like sitting at home going, what do you mean for the comic? Okay. There's a lot of comedy clubs that you go to and they never thought about the comedian. They never thought about a green room. The green room is the most important fucking room in that comedy club because that's the last minute where a comic collects his thoughts. Some comedy clubs you go to don't even have a green room. You sit in the guy's office smelling chicken cutlets, his cats, looking at pictures of his ugly fucking family. Half these clubs don't give a fuck. When you go to those clubs, you go, very interesting. I've been to clubs that grand opening. You know what a green room is? A green room is fucking like when you go in a court, that room they put you in, when you're in your orange fucking, it's the same fucking shit. That's not a green room. We work with it. We bear with it. We work around it. When you go to the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee, that's a fucking green room. They got a pool table. They got a fucking, did you know that? In the Pabst Theater, they have not a jukebox, a fucking turntable. And a wall of albums. Every album, every fucking mate. You could play. They have an espresso bar with an espresso chick there waiting for you. They put out every type of fucking food. This is whether it's a little guy or a fucking Louis C.K. or Dave Chappelle. They do the same thing for everybody. So it's a pleasure to go back there, okay? The sound at Joe Rogan's is fucking phenomenal. Okay, I'm not one of the, listen, I'm deaf. I'm deaf. So everything sounds the same to me. You know what I'm saying? But from the stage, what I heard out in that audience and how it came out, it was tremendous. The sound is great. The stage was great. But the most important thing about it, listen, they just got there. They're still high off the, they're high. These people that are working there are high. Like they're fucking not high on weed or high on drugs, but it's a high to working there. They've been telling me who's been going in there the last 2 weeks. It's like fucking endless who goes in there, from Bill Burr to Dean Delray the fucking Roseanne Barr. I mean, it's just the people, Dave Chappelle, some fucking people from sports world were down there last week just to watch a comedy show, somebody from Memphis or something. He did something really good for the comics. He invested in comedy. He didn't invest in himself. He's got $300,000 million. What's he give a fuck about? He made an investment for comics. For all you fucking haters out there, for you people who know somebody who hates him, COVID, whatever the fuck, guys, it's all bullshit. And that's, when he went to El Nido, when I took him to El Nido, he wrote a report about El Nido. He wrote he put a picture up, and I'll never forget this thing he wrote. He goes, I'm paying attention to to all the little things that they do at El Nido. They do little things. You could see it. It's amazing when you go to El Nido sometimes, because what they do with food is fucking tremendous, and it's all to the T. It's all fresh, and so he wrote something about that, and I didn't look at it from that perspective, but that's a perspective he looks at things from. He looks at, when he looked at that comedy club, he's like, I don't want it to just be a comedy club. I want it to be the best fucking... There's an elevator in that motherfucker. I was taking an elevator. I'm not walking up all those fucking stairs. I just did PRP in it. But it's great to see. The last 10 years, guys, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a criminal. When I walk into a theater and the people like, Al Capone performed here 18 years ago, and look at this piece of art. It's all great. I just came to make these motherfuckers laugh and to pick up a check. I didn't come here to look at fucking art. I really didn't. I mean, I'm a fucking animal. I really don't care what the fuck. Just get me to the stage. Let me loose. Let me go make them laugh. Let's wrap this motherfucker up, get a check, and get the fuck out of there. When I went to Rogan's, I was paying attention to all the small details. He did so many. There's a bar downstairs called Mitzi's. That's beautiful. Just for the fucking comics. Just for the comics to go down there and not feel pressured with other people, blah, 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 blah. He did all those little things, He's very, very fucking serious when it comes to that green room. People don't understand what a green room is. He took it to the point where you can't get in there unless you got a fucking code. There's no just walking in. You're not going to walk in. And he made it clear, like agents and this and that, I don't want you up here. I don't want you up here commiserating, taking energy from these fucking people. Stay outside. Go to the bar. If you're not performing, and that's what a green room is. I love doing the Sony Theater. I love it. I love it. I hope to go back next year. I fucking love the place. The only thing I'm going to change is what was going on in my green room. When I get down, I don't want to see anybody down there from now on. I don't want to see anybody down there. This ain't no fucking party. This ain't Rick James down there giving out Quaaludes. It's just people getting ready for a comedy show. And people want to go down there and mess with them thinking that's what... I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to see nobody. You're here. Take a seat, get a cocktail, and relax. I don't need to see you before the show. These people that come down, we want to wish you luck. Get the fuck out of here. I've done this 10 million fucking times. I don't want no luck. Sit in your seat, and I'll see you afterward. We'll jump up and down. That's peace of mind, guys. That little green room is... So, and I realized it this week, when I was doing the Sony Theater, I would get there and I'd be aggravated. I'd be fucking aggravated. Why would I? I'm going to make people laugh. What do I want to get fucking aggravated for? So that's it. I'm banning fucking, that's it. That's the way they do it. When I was doing the improvs with Lee and all this shit, it was just me and Lee in a room. Maybe the other comedian, just talking. All of a sudden, since I moved to Jersey, everybody wants to go to the green room. No. And I realized how important it was. I'm going to tell you what Rogan did. Not only did he hold the green room sacred, he put a chair by both stages. Because you have so much going on before you go on stage. And they'll tell you the light's on. The light means you need to walk up to the stage. When you walk up the stairs to the fucking stage, the people go, okay, you need anything? You're like, no, I got my water. When you sit there those last 3 minutes before you go up, that's your world. Everything else is background music. That's your last 3 minutes of alone time, of time that you could focus on what you want to say, what you want to do. You get over your nervousness, you smoke that last cigarette, you do whatever the fuck you do as a superstitious, and you go up on stage. But even that, and it's not a $2 million chair, it's a simple chair, just a fucking table chair. That's it, that's all you need. And he's got a pad there and a piece of paper. There's cigarettes, there's weed, there's everything there in case you need it. He's prepared. That does something to you. You know, I told people for years, I did 1,000 fucking movies. These movies were on last week. A couple of you guys reached out to me, the Dick Van Dyke movies. I did 2 Lifetime movies with Dick Van Dyke. I thought I did 1. I did 2 of them. And I'll never forget this. They didn't pay me scale. Was I angry? Not at all. That's what the job paid. They're a company. This is what they do. But the thing that made me happy about them was when you walked into the fucking dressing room, there was a basket. There was a basket. Whatever, a bottle of wine, a T-shirt, a box of crackers, some fucking, Vermont's favorite cheese, tastes like shit. Yeah, it's the same shit. But just a thought. Just a thought. It makes you feel so much better. It makes you feel, okay, I'm appreciated. I'll work that extra 10 minutes. I'll do this. I'll jump off a cliff for the shot because they appreciated me. You know how many times I walked into a comedy room or something? They don't give a fuck. Listen, neither do I. I'm there to pick up a check. I'm not there to fucking analyze your fucking hospitality. But I make a mental note of it. You have to. You're making them a lot of money. You're making money with them. And there's some people who don't give a fuck. You go up to Nebraska, you go to the Funny Bone in Nebraska, in whatever her name's, I can't think of her name now. She treats you like a king. I can tell you there's 8 comedy club owners that treat you like a king. Then there's 35 of them that you don't even see for the weekend. You know, you can't even come down on Thursday night and shake my hand. There's all those little things. Rogan lives at that club. He lives at that club. He lives at that club. He's there to welcome people. You know, the fucking hotel he puts the comics in are tremendous. You don't have to hear people yelling in the middle of the night because everybody's trying to save $10. But by saving those $10, you turn that guy off. He's not going to come back. You know, that's the most important thing, is feeling appreciated. That's all I've ever wanted to feel. That's it. I don't want you to kiss my ass. I don't want you to feed me grapes. I don't want you to lick my balls. I don't want you to do nothing. I just want to feel like you were happy that I was there. I mean, for me, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go there and take your money anyway. But it just gives you, you know what? Next time I'll come here, I'm going to fucking write more. I'm going to be a lot better for these people because the club is great. And that's what makes a big difference in comedy, man. It's not the money they pay you. If I did this for money, guys, you're crazy. I did this to be funny all those years. And through the years, you meet different people, you talk with different people, and you see what works and what doesn't work for you. I got to tell you something. Fucking Rogan did it with this one. He really fucking did. And Austin, as far as Austin as a city, I didn't recognize it. I remembered a few spots. It's growing. They really, listen, man, growth is a beautiful thing to see. Some people don't want to see growth. Some people knows what comes with growth, you know. Around the corner from where I was staying, they're building the biggest building in Texas. It's going to be a high rise. Like, you're not going to, you know, you can't see the state capitol from everywhere now. They've built so much in the last 2 years. I mean, they've done, you know, and it's going to be the capital for comedy. I am convinced, after what I saw this week, it's the capital for comedy. If you're a young comic and you want to learn the business from A to Z, I'm not talking to move down there to hang out with Joe Rogan. I'm talking about they got the Creek in the Cave. They've got Helium coming. They've got Cap City. Who else? The Vulcan. The Sunset Strip Comedy Room. And 1,000 other places that do comedy. If you're serious, really serious about comedy, you're just like, oh, you know, I get it. But if you're serious about your trade and about your art and you really want to improve and really want to see it from the inside out, that's the fucking town to do it. You know, everybody always, listen, when you went to LA to find riches and all that shit, most of these people that go to LA to find riches, they'll tell you, there's not really a market for transitioning. Somebody said something to me interesting years ago. When I got The Longest Yard, my agent called them to put me on a radio show. And the guy said, we're not in business of making stars. We just put stars on here. I was mad for about 10 minutes. I understood that. I understood where he was coming from, and I got it. That guy calls me today to do work for him. I will not do work for him. His partner calls me all the time because he got thrown off the radio, and he's an idiot anyway. But he was cool like that. You know, I'm not in the business of making stars. Well, that's the problem with L.A. Everybody goes to L.A. to be a star, and everybody forgets what they went there for, which is fucking comedy. You know, if I took away the podcast, and if I took away movies and film and television, I took away anything, and I just focused on stand-up, it would be scary. Because I was scary with everything going on. Could you imagine if you withdraw everything and just focus on stand-up, like a Dave Chappelle? People want to know why Dave Chappelle is so good. You don't have to do 10 podcasts a week. You don't see Ali Wong doing a podcast. You know, we just jumped on it. We thought it was the hip thing to do. It don't work for people. But look at the people that just focus on stand-up. When you start stand-up, you want to be around people who just focus on stand-up. Not fake people in your open mic scene. That's why you go to a better open mic scene. You start at your open mic scene, they give you a little shit, you get kicked in the head a few times, you get drunk in public, nobody wants to fucking talk to you no more. You got to move to another fucking open mic city. And that's where you get strengthened. I started in Denver, but I strengthened up in Seattle. That's why I became a fucking feature act. And then I moved to Los Angeles, which made my trek a lot easier. Now listen, Chris D'Elia walked into the Comedy Store the first time and got on stage. God bless him. You know, I'm not mad at Chris for that. I know a lot of people who started in Los Angeles, and they're very successful today. But when you look at how many to the compare of success, you'll go, yeah, I get it. It's a small percentage. Why? It's such a, and you know, you as a human being, as a comedian, as a business person, you play percentages. Where can I be the strongest that I could be? If I move to LA, I'm going to be at 10%. But if I move to a city like Seattle to develop, I'm going to be at 50%. There's more of a chance for me to grow there. There's more of a chance to meet more people, to start from the ground floor with a booker. In LA, people run out there to be famous and to be rich and to be superstars, and they run into that. No, guys, you go somewhere else and develop. You read all these. I was reading somebody's story the other day. They were doing a traveling fucking theater till 6 years ago. You know, whatever. What's that thing called when you go from town to town and do like, I don't know, some fucking, no, like a production. Like a production of, I don't know, Chicago that travels across the country. Like you do two shows. It's like comedy tour. It's like a comedy tour. You know, can you imagine doing that for acting? The acting strength that you're going to come out. They've always said that when you do theater, if you really want to do acting, like if you really want to act, not be famous, you got to break all this shit up. Not be on hanging on with Jay Leno and hanging on Jimmy Kimmel. If you just want to learn to act, you could do a play. But Joey, it don't pay. Nothing pays. Crime pays in the beginning, but that don't pay. That's not going to fucking pay you in the beginning. You're going to get $10 a week plus per diem. But the money doesn't matter if you really love acting. If you really love stand-up, like I love stand-up. I did. In the beginning, I didn't care about money. I didn't get into this to be fucking rich. I got into this to fucking do something with my life. And God forbid, I stuck with it and something happened. You know what the percentages of that are. You know, if you play percentages, what are they? What are they for me to really start in Boston, move to New York, develop, and then become a big fucking comedy star in LA? The percentages are against you. But if you got heart and balls, and if you do it correctly and work smart. I was a stupid motherfucker, but for some reason with comedy, I learned how to work smart. For years, I was just a Irakawa, you know, like some fucking crazy Indian. But it's when you start working smart and start planning your fucking moves that you see that growth immediately. Listen, with jiu-jitsu, I was going to jiu-jitsu for fucking 4 years in LA. I was getting beat up every fucking day. I still get beat up every day here. But the same thing happened with my jiu-jitsu lately. Since I don't have to do 10 podcasts a week, get on a plane on fucking Thursday, write comedy, do all this shit, I'm absorbing more jiu-jitsu because it's the less I got to focus on. So you young comics that are doing a podcast early on and are doing stand-up, listen, it's great. I think you're doing the right fucking thing because whether your podcast succeeds or not, at least you tried it. At least you know what the fuck is going on. And if it don't work your second or third year in comedy, I guarantee you one thing. It'll work your seventh year in comedy because you're more experienced. You know what more to do. I'm very happy how I picked apart my career. You know, I see a lot of comics now putting improv sets on Instagram. Listen, I'm not mad at you. You do what the fuck you want. It's your career. But nobody wants to pay $25 to see a game of chance. Do you follow what I'm saying to you? Don't get me wrong. The first 3 years of comedy, I spoke to the audience. And then when I moved to New York, that's a really bad habit that you pick up in New York, is speaking to the fucking audience, okay? When these people put up these reels of speaking to the audience, it's great. You're getting on stage. I'm proud of you. But everybody's doing that shit. Why are you putting that reel up of you talking to the audience when everybody's doing crowd work fucking chronicles? If you want people to come see you, you want to, yeah, no. Miss Pat does crowd work chronicles or something like that, and it's great. I love Miss Pat. But I see a lot of younger comics trying to do the same thing and put up sets with you doing straight comedy. Never mind that. You don't want them seeing you do that shit. That's what everybody's doing. But the people that are doing it have been doing it for 15 years. You're trying to do it at 3 years. So it makes, you follow what I'm saying? There's steps to this fucking thing. There's steps to this motherfucker. Do you understand me? But anyway, you pick your own decisions. Back to the Rogan thing. I love a lot of comedy clubs. There's some great comedy clubs in the country. I love Cleveland, fucking Milwaukee. I love the club up in fucking whatever, Vermont, not Vermont. I don't even know, up by Boston, up there.
Maine, or
Maine, not Maine, the other town. Got a great, Providence, Rhode Island. That's a great fucking club. The guy gives a fuck about you. You know, the Stand, Patrick, they do, you know, they fucking, the Gotham is fucking great. They take care of you. A lot of clubs you walk into, they go out of their way. They at least show that you're a little fucking happy, and that's all I've ever wanted. We'll end with that real quick. I got a break for a sponsor break here. Give me 3 minutes, and I'll be right back, cocksuckers. All right, it's NBA playoff times. That means big hoop action with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Get in on the excitement with the touch of a button. New customers, $5 pregame moneyline bet. You're going to get $150 in bonus bets. Open the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Opt in and place a same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, we're going to get you a $10 bonus back. It's that easy. DraftKings, you got UFC, you got pro baseball, you got soccer, you got golf, you got everything. But right now, it's NBA playoff time. So download the app and sign up with code JOEY, J-O-E-Y. Again, new customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if their team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code JOEY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. If you're in Boston, Mass., call 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpma.org. Once you take care of that, download the app and let's get ready to rock. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/bonusbook for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Thank you. I want to thank DraftKings, and I want to thank you, savages. We're back, motherfuckers. Don't forget, DraftKings is always motherfucking there for you. Back to the podcast. Anyway, what I was talking about was this. I got to talk about something else that was bothering the fuck out of me. I hope you guys, I gave you a 420 surprise. The 420 surprise was me going on Joe. I know that a lot of people have been bothering me. It's so weird. Whenever I start talking to Joe about getting on the podcast, it never fails. As soon as I hang up with Joe, I get a tweet. Have you spoken to Joe lately? It's time to get you back on Rogan again. Like, people fucking know when it's time again. I got like 20 things. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it last week, so I didn't say nothing. I wasn't sure. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought I'd get to the airport and crap out and come home, and then Joe would be mad at me. But no, I was excited to go down there. It was fucking great going down there. The only problem was this, guys, and I've been talking about this, and I don't want to fucking harp on this shit, but I'm not going to be getting on a plane for a while. I will not be getting on a fucking plane for a while. You know, man, I don't like to get abused. I don't like paying to get abused. The flight from Newark to Austin was phenomenal. I flew United, and I flew United on the way back. I've never really had problems with United. They're not my favorite airline. Okay, it's always been like Delta, JetBlue, American. I've always thought of United as the last one. The problem is United's hub is Newark, so now I'm fucking stuck with them. If I want to fly, I got to fly fucking United. The flight home, guys, was basically a fucking nightmare. And for me, I had done what I went down to do. I could look you guys in the eye and tell you I was not upset at all. At all. By no means was I upset. I knew this was part of doing business, but I had a decision to make, whether I want to keep doing this or not doing this. And guys, it's not for me anymore. The flight was a 6 a.m. flight. I couldn't even do the second show at Joe's because I got there and I couldn't sleep that night. When you get off a plane, you're not going to fucking sleep. And then I got up early and I had a bunch of calls to make and radio. I had to do a radio show in fucking Reno for a friend of mine. I don't even know if it aired yet. I was tired, but I had a 6 a.m. flight. The car was picking me up at 4:15. I want to at least get 3 or 4 hours before I get on a fucking plane. So I didn't even see Red Band. I saw Duncan. I saw Russell Peters. I saw fucking Mrs. Segura. She looked fucking beautiful. Christina P. looked fucking beautiful, man. I saw a lot of great people. So I was happy, but I really wanted to stay for Red Band. Red Band got stuck at the Vulcan. I get up at 4 o'clock. I get up like 3:30. I get up, I check my messages, nothing. All right, we're ready to fucking go. I wash my pussy, I drink some coffee, I eat a protein bar, I get to the fucking airport. I get to the airport at 4:30, the flight's at 6. Guys, I walk in and write down the board, canceled. I go, what time is the flight now? 11. I said, it's 4:30, I gotta eat breakfast, hang out, read a little bit. I'll stay at the airport. You know what the lady told me? She goes, you can't, I'm not checking you in until 10. So I don't know what to tell you. That's what she told me. I was like, okay.
You're not allowed to sit there.
Well, where you going to sit? In that fucking... if you can't pass that fucking thing, there's no restaurants. You got to pass the fucking alarm systems, the security check to fucking do anything. So what, are you just going to sit there? No weed, no roll joints. The edibles was in the fucking luggage. I had nothing to attack. So I said, fuck this. I took an Uber back to the hotel. I didn't even check out. I never checked out. I took the card with me because they do automatic checkout anyway. They realize it, yeah. So I didn't check out. So when I walked back in, I just said, can you redo my card again? Boom, I went up to my room and I hit the crib. I got a text. The plane takes off at 11. I fucking shot to the airport at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, quarter to 10. Sure enough, I walk in the door. Plane's been moved to 11:12. Okay, 12 minutes ain't gonna kill nobody. 11:12. I walk through security. I sit down. Beep, my pager goes off. My text goes off. It got pushed to 11:31. Okay, that's 20 more minutes. No big fucking deal. But I know what's coming. Got pushed to 11:48. I got up. I went over, and then I went over to my fucking favorite of all time, the barbecue joint down there. I forget the name of it, at the airport. They have them at all the fucking Houston, whatever it's called, Slim, whatever the fuck it's called. I'm killing time. Again, guys, I'm not cheap. I love to eat. You know, I'm a fat fuck. I love all this shit. I can't see. So I put my glasses on. Guys, they wanted $25 for a brisket platter. Salt Lick barbecue, who I love. I've been eating at Salt Lick since 1997. I love Salt Lick. You understand me? They wanted $25 at the end. Now, again, I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about you, your 2 boys, and your wife. It was $25 for 3 little pieces of brisket that were delicious, fucking tremendous. It had to be 1.5 ounces of baked beans and 1.5 ounces. It was mashed potatoes for midgets. It was just a scoop with a fucking big scoop straw. That's all it was. That's all they fucking gave you. 6 for the iced tea with no ice cubes in it. So it was 31 for fucking lunch for me at an airport.
It's like eating at a stadium.
Guys, you know, when does the abuse end? I walked back to fucking catch my 11:48. No. The plane got delayed again till 12:15. By the time I sit in my chair, the plane got delayed again to 12:30. Now they make an announcement. Newark people, the flight's touching down. You're in luck because the plane was coming from somewhere else. You're in luck. Okay. We're going to fucking throw everybody off the plane and put you motherfuckers on. Thank you for your patience. Beautiful. We get on the plane. We're ready to go. Boom. Sit down. No lunch service. It's going to be breakfast instead. Okay. It's 1 o'clock. I already had breakfast. I had my little Salt Lake barbecue. What do I give a fuck about lunch? I'm going to hit the crib anyway. I'm fucking tired. And then they say no Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi on the flight. Okay. I'll watch TV, the little TV screen they have. I brought my earphones. Beautiful. I fucking fall asleep. Do you know I woke up at 3 o'clock and they still hadn't served food yet? They served the breakfast at 3:30. They brought me a frittata, what's supposed to be a frittata, which is like eggs with potatoes and sausages on like a little circle. Tastes like dick anyway. I wasn't going to eat that. I would eat the fruit cup and maybe a piece of bread. Or guys, the frittata was soggy. Like it looked like pudding. And it had like this cheese on top of it that I was not going to fucking try. No way. Not on United Airlines. So I just ate the fruit cup and I'd sent it back. But here's the other reason. I went to put my fucking, you always want to put your little fucking napkin on like a professional. Guys, when I put the napkin on, I took the silver out, I looked at the fork. I never look at the fork. I'm a fucking gorilla. I don't look at forks to see if they're clean or not. I didn't even have to look at it. I just looked down. The fork still had food on it. I turned the fork around. There was food on the other side, and there was still something on the fucking knife. I was like, guys, this is the all-time worst. Okay? Now, do you think I'm going to Yelp? Do you think I'm going to call them when I get off the plane? It's not going to do nothing. I just won't fly anymore. But the lady next to me was a Gentile, and a high-powered Gentile. She's some high-powered attorney, and the guy behind me was a Gentile. And they were just talking about how bad this flight was and how bad it was lately, and that none of those people on the flight had gotten a fucking text to tell them that the flight was delayed. They were pissed. These people on the fucking plane with me were fucking pissed, and they were mumbling. But this lady next to me went off before the plane landed. And she's like, I'm calling this guy. I'm calling the president of this. I'm calling this. She goes, look at these two fucking waitresses in first class. They have not even asked us if we need anything. The plane had turbulence like a motherfucker. You got to put your seatbelt on. I didn't put it on just to see if they noticed. They didn't care. They never came back there and asked you if you want anything else. They gave no water bottles. They give you a glass of water. The water looks like it's from fucking Newark, which it probably is. This is the thing. You could see it like fucking, like when water has oil on it, you could see like vinegar and oil. It layers like that. That's how the fucking water looked. So guys, again, I'm not going to call anybody. I'm not going to rat nobody out. I just made a decision. I'm not flying for a while until 20,000 of us get together and sign a fucking petition or something. And I'm not even thinking about me. Guys, I don't need to go anywhere. I don't really give a fuck what's going on anywhere. I'm thinking about you motherfuckers with family people, with 2 kids. Could you imagine with your 2-year-old child and your 4-year-old child going to an airport at 6 a.m. and now you got to wait there with your kids till 11 o'clock? You're like me. You're a piece of shit. You could deal with anything. I don't give a fuck what you throw at me. But why should I put my child and my wife through that? They don't deserve that shit, especially at the prices that you're paying for these fucking plane tickets. I just checked for a plane ticket the other day. I used to pay $600 for. It's $1,400. Just to look. Because I'm a nerd like that. I love to look at things. Yeah, no, I wasn't doing anything. I looked to see what it was. It was a plane ticket to Mexico for a friend of mine. He says he can't find nothing cheaper than $800. I said, let me get a crack at it. Bro, there were $1,400 tickets to fucking Mexico. The same plane he takes every year for the last 5 years. So, like I said, guys, I get it. I love you motherfuckers. I love traveling. I've been doing it for fucking ever, but not anymore. I'm giving it a break. In fact, my wife even told me, she goes, after that story, we're driving to Nashville. We'll take our time. 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. I don't give a Frenchman's fuck. Listen, think about this. I got to the airport at 4:30 in the morning yesterday. I didn't walk in my door till 7:15 at night, 7:20. I could have walked to fucking Nashville. It's 12 hours to get to Nashville. Think about that. Let's start the day at 6 a.m. That's a 13-hour day. I could have driven to Nashville. You know, that's it. I'm done. I really wanted to go out to L.A. and see Ryan Sickler next week and do Bill Maher's podcast to promote the book. But you know what, guys? We'll do it fucking Zoom. I'm not putting myself up to that fucking abuse. It's over. That's it. That's how I feel. That's it for a while. Unless something, I feel bad. My uncle's pushing the ticket. I don't know how much time he's got left, but I mean, for that, I'd have to fucking fly out. And the one thing I liked about the Rogan podcast this week that I got to tell my side of the Xanax thing. I fucking loved it. And I'm getting a lot of emails from people about it that they didn't know what was going on, that they got hooked on them and they went through the same thing. I'm happy I got to tell that story. I'm really happy because it set my life, it destroyed my life for 2 fucking years, guys. You know, Rogan was talking about Jordan Peterson, how it destroyed him. There's a thing, I think it's called echinacea, that you get after you stop taking those things. That is basically the worst feeling I've ever had in my fucking life. I can't just... And it was brought up every time I took a Xanax to calm my anxiety, that feeling would start. And it's a feeling of uncertainty you can't really grasp. Your heart's beating, your stomach, something. It's like 20 things that are wrong. And I used to live like this. Guys, I don't wish this shit on anybody. It's like I told Joe. It's not that I was doing Xanax to drink and jump up and down. I really had a really bad condition. It was not fucking good. And now my anxiety is if my anxiety was at 120 3 years ago, my anxiety now is at 5%. I feel it once in a while and I just brush through it. I just go to myself, at this time is when I would insert a fucking Xanax. These times when I feel this way, but that echinacea, I don't want to wish that on anybody because you destroyed your central nervous system. And when your central nervous system is down, you don't want to experience that. You know, after I went through what I went through, I actually dove into this fucking whole thing, and I realized that Xanax is just a 2-week prescription until they find what's going on with you. It's just a little Band-Aid for a few weeks. Anything after that, you're just fucking killing yourself to live. My sister, one of my tightest friends in the world, has taken a Xanax every day for 50 years to go to sleep. And she's had no problems, you know. So everybody's built differently. My other buddy went through what I went through, didn't know he was going through it, fucking went to see 80 doctors to take care of the feeling, and it was like me, some assistant to the doctor figured it out. Well, you still taking the Xanax? Yes, I am. Well, that was 2 years ago. Like, that's how I discovered it. The lady just said, you still taking the Xanax? Yeah. That was 12 years. You've been taking Xanax for 12 years ago? No. She gave it, they prescribed it to me in 2012. I started eating it heavy in 2018, 2019. And then the pandemic came and I went off the fucking rails. And I'm also happy I did the Rogan podcast because I realized the fear I had was that LA before we left. I didn't remember it. You know, when Rogan said that he had his liberal friends calling him to borrow guns, I thought about that. Everybody was calling everybody to borrow guns. Everybody. People would like, you have an extra gun I can carry? Everybody. That's how scary it was. And I thought for sure, you know, I had a front door with a fucking glass on it. I would sit there at night with a gun. I never told nobody this. Because the neighborhood was going to shit, guys. You know, when you smoke pot with somebody 3 nights a week, and I would meet this girl in my office, Sophia. I would meet Sophia. She's my best friend in L.A. I would meet her at my office, and we'd smoke dope. When the pandemic came, we didn't want to be in close quarters, so I would meet her outside behind 7-Eleven. One night, we heard gunshots that were fucking 100 yards away from us. You know how many times I heard gunshots in the valley? Like, I was hearing, before I left the valley, I was hearing gunshots 3 or 4 times a day. 3 or 4 times a day. I was telling my wife this morning that before we left, there was a feeling of creepiness. It felt CIA induced, like it was shit that you couldn't imagine that you were seeing. I told you guys about the hooker. I told you guys about the guy hitting the guy with the brick, with the 4x4. You know how many mornings I got up and I would ride my bike early? And I would go by North Hollywood Park, and at the far end of the park, there'd be a box of bricks. Like just a box of bricks. Like somebody was just dropping off bricks and putting them on the corners. Who the fuck was doing this?
That was happening all over the place.
You know, who the fuck was doing this shit? This shit was getting into my psyche with the Xanax and everything else that was going on in my life. That's what put me over the top. I definitely, guys.
Paranoid a little bit?
It wasn't that I was paranoid. Is that, listen, man, you could tell me anything you fucking want. You know those people that tell you, don't go down there. You know, you can tell me whatever you want. Until I make an assessment of it, that's what it is, you know. Guys, I'm not crazy. Guys, I'm not, you know, I wasn't doing coke, so it's not, I was paranoid during 2018 or the pandemic. It was what I saw. And I saw it, a quick change. The things that stuck out to me the most during that period was going to Burbank one day. Burbank is a tight Disney city. Tight, bro. They got cameras everywhere. Everything in Burbank. You know how many people jaywalk in Burbank? And right before the Black Lives Matter movement, right before the guy got choked, the guy got killed in Milwaukee, I was already seeing weird things like the bricks, but this was the weirdest thing I had saw way before Black Lives Matter and anything in Burbank. I saw 2 young African-American kids jaywalking. And I'm like, this ain't right. They don't let white people jaywalk in Burbank. Never mind 2 young brothers that came from somewhere. You were seeing cars with young black kids driving around all day. And you know what they're looking for. You were seeing cars with Mexican kids driving around all day, 4 in a car. I was seeing cars with 4 white kids in it, driving around all day during the pandemic. They weren't looking to make friends. So when you start seeing this, it's like when you do coke. When I was doing coke, once I go into the liquor store, and once I put that coke in my pocket and I was headed home and I was all fired up, on the way home, if I saw a cop car, just saw it, had nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. He was pulling the other way, talking to some other people, maybe at 7-Eleven getting a coffee. But just me seeing him, it would stay in my mind. And while I was doing coke, I would get paranoid about that cop. Why was he there? What was he drinking coffee? Why wasn't he drinking milk? Like I would think of all those stupid things, you know. That's what happened during the pandemic. I wasn't getting high. But I saw so many dumb little fucking things that I had never seen before in that area. See, if I had seen that in San Francisco, I keep walking. If I see that in North Bergen, New Jersey, I keep walking. If I see that in New York City, I keep walking. But Burbank, not that simple. Burbank is the town that I went to do Flappers one night, and when I walked out of Flappers, ready for this, guys? 10 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, I dropped my wallet in the middle of the street. It fell. I got in my car, and I'm driving home, and when I got to my house, 10 minutes later, I realized my wallet was gone. I had to be a plane the next morning. I flew back to Flappers, went back to where I was parked, and as I was at the light, I could see my wallet in the middle of the street. How many cars went over that thing? How many people crossed that street from that bar going to the parking lot? Nobody picked up my wallet. That's to let you know how clean Burbank is. So for me to see 2 African-American kids that didn't look like they lived in Burbank just walking the streets of Burbank, jaywalking, that just was like, it has nothing to do with me, but I'll make a mental note of that. Like we were just seeing so many things. It felt very contrived. And then once the thing went down with George Floyd, it was like you were living in a fucking dream. It was like you were living in a fucking dream. This shit could not happen. My daughter's daycare. That place has been there for 40 years, called St. Paul's. They are the nicest Gentiles you ever met in your life. It was like a Protestant, whatever, Presbyterian. I didn't even give a fuck. They were so nice. My daughter grew so much there. I knew the people who worked there. I knew the women, the moms. They would come to, we were all at the same parties. Anytime there was a daycare party, all the people and the teachers would go. We went to Yankee games together, went to Dodger games together. We did all these things together as parents and as part of that daycare. I wake up one day to see that it was like a plant. This couldn't have been true. Some African-American guy, after the George Floyd thing, was walking down Studio City, which you never really see that many African-Americans in Studio City, and he was hot, so he sat on St. Paul's lawn at 3 o'clock when the kids were getting out of the school and the daycare. But he was like, on the lawn, like with hot pants on a fucking carpet. Like, this just didn't happen there. So when the guy that runs the school, the principal goes, brother, I don't mind if you sit there, just move it over. You can't lay there and put a radio there. The guy called NBC News. The school that my daughter was going to is now under attack for racist things when half the people in there, like there was 2 African-American women that worked there, there was 2 Mexicans that worked there, a couple white chicks that worked there, a couple Asian girls that worked there. So now they were like everybody was pointing them to be racist. And I was like, something is not fucking right here. It just did not feel weird. It didn't feel real. It felt very surreal. So we get hit with the pandemic. You start getting, all of a sudden, everybody started getting canceled. Remember, when the pandemic hit, all of a sudden now people want to start canceling people. Oh, I remember 10 years ago, this comedian fucking finger banged me in the shower. All of a sudden, it didn't seem surreal. And then all this George Floyd thing to this day does not seem surreal. The way he had his knee on his neck and looking at the camera directly, something just didn't feel right to me about that whole thing. It was like it felt like a setup, but obviously we see it wasn't. It felt like a setup, but obviously somebody lost their lives. I saw the tape when a guy couldn't breathe, the brother up in the Bronx or Brooklyn when they fucking choked him. Something about the whole George Floyd thing didn't seem right. It felt like it was a bad dream. And this happened every day, but during the pandemic, it made people go out to the streets and protest and break shit. So it didn't feel real to me, man. And I'm like, I waited all this time in my life to fucking have a family, to have a wife, to be a good father, and just to get my life together. And now they're going to kill my wife? Like, that's what I was like thinking. Now they're going to come do something to my kids. Then I saw the Latin King sign on the school. This is Studio City, guys. They got 16 Latins up there. What the fuck are the Latin Kings doing in Studio City? So it just felt so surreal. Not to mention, and I could tell you guys now, I went to buy a gun. I can't buy a gun. I'm a felon. All these and every fucking gun store had huge lines. I'm talking blocks wrapped around, like everybody was buying a gun for the end of the world. So something about that little fear got me going, and what really scared me, it felt like I was going to have to do something. That's why I was sleeping on my fucking chair in the living room, waiting for somebody to kick the fucking door in. So I went to the Armenian, and I go, let me get a gun. So he brought me a 9mm. And I go, I need something else. So he goes, I cannot get you something right now. I will just give you an AR-15 for the house. So I had a homemade machine gun in my fucking bedroom. I don't want that in my house. I don't ever want a fucking weapon like that in my house. I could see having a handgun, a .38 to shoot a burglar in the leg, but a fucking machine gun like... Dog, this thing was had air pumps and fucking... His friend had put it together. You could keep it for a few... And then when I left New Jersey, the guy's like, listen, we have connections in Jersey. As soon as you touch down in Jersey, we'll have a gun ready for you. I go, I don't need a gun in Jersey. I needed one in fucking L.A. And the gun he gave me, I was going to take it on the flight. And I said, you know what? I don't want to bring this gun with me to Jersey. I don't want to bring this part of my life into my Jersey life. So I gave the the gun to my ex-jiu-jitsu teacher, who I still talk to all the time. Didn't ask him for a dime, just take it. And I came here. And that was what was going on in LA before we left. And that's what I thought fucked me up the most, was that fear. I wasn't scared of, come on, guys. With the life I've had, you think I'm fucking scared of anything? It was more or less, I just didn't want to lose my family in that way. And that's it. That's our podcast for Monday, the 24th of motherfucking April. This is your last week to pre-order the book. It's number 15 on Amazon. You guys have made my year with this. And you haven't made my year as much as you made Erica Florentine's year. You know, she was a girl just trying to get by, and all of a sudden, here we are with a fucking great book, and people enthused about it. So I really want to please you guys. I really want to please you. I really want to thank you guys for doing this for me. I know I've done a lot of different things for a lot of you crazy people, but this is big, and you're making Erica Florentine's day, and that's part of what we do here. We're always looking to make somebody's day. And that's it, and that's that. You got one more week to order, and then I'll keep you posted on the fucking the book signings in New York, Boston, Philly, and Jersey. That's all I got for now. Besides that, guys, it was a great month. I love you motherfuckers with all my heart, and I'll see you cocksuckers next Monday. Tip Top Magoo, ready to go. And now for a word from my motherfucking sponsor, Jack. All right, I want to thank you guys. Thank you for always having my back. And let's talk about some sponsors. First off, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes you don't even want to get yourself out of bed, much less drag yourself to a therapist's office. I've been there. I know what it feels like. BetterHelp's online therapy can further your journey to self-discovery from wherever you are. You could do the therapy from the comfort of your home or literally your bed. But listen, all jokes aside, I was stuck for a while. I contacted BetterHelp, and they blew my doors out. Here I am, better than ever. It's convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedules. No having to drive to some office or sit awkwardly in a waiting room. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and get on your way to living a better life. If you need a different therapist at any point, you could switch. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Diaz. Again, that's BetterHelp.com/Diaz. The joint is also brought to you by, you ready for this? Blue Chew. It's summertime. It's time to sling dick. When you're younger, you're always on the go. But once you get older like me, it's difficult to keep the soldier up at full attention. You gotta smack him around a little bit. Fuck that. Enter Blue Chew, the online service that delivers chewable ED medicine right to your door with the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost. You'll be ready to go when that victim shows up. Listen to me. I love Blue Chew. Not to mention, Viagra is $100 a pill, and they don't cover it by insurance. What the fuck are you waiting for? Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, boom, there you are. Big dick, and with a license and a prescription. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and shipped to you in a discreet packaging. Blue Chew wants to help you sling dick and have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it, do it. And we got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use my promo code. That's Joey at checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping, and that's BlueChew.com, code Joey, to receive your first month for free. You'll be happy after you get it. You'll be fucking thanking me. And that's it, and that's that. I want to thank DraftKings, I want to thank Blue Chew, and I want to thank BetterHelp, but I want to thank you motherfuckers for always having my back. Don't forget, it's the last week to order Tremendous, A Story of a Comedy Savage, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, fucking thriftbooks.com. And that's it. I love you motherfuckers. Stay black and have a great week.